Beacon 23's first episode's cold open is of Aster and her AI Harmony, in the middle of locking Halen, a military deserter, out of Beacon 23. The cold open cuts to an earlier scene of Halen trying to warn Aster's oncoming ship of the unsafe passage, but something goes haywire with the beacon system when the comms go down on Halen's side. Then the signal gets stuck on go. Halen tries to fix the signal, but the oncoming ship assumes it's safe to proceed. The ship gets destroyed when it crosses into the dark matter cloud. Halen goes out into the debris field and rescues a stasis pod floating in space. When Aster gains consciousness, Halen introduces himself to her as Solomon. When Aster asks to see the reports on the space rocks, Halen says she can't see them because the AI is malfunctioning. When Aster questions him further, Halen lashes out in anger.
What's malfunctioning? The AI? The whole beacon?
No, okay? I just said no. I gotta figure out what happened with the GWB, and then we can talk about the reports. You should get some rest. Just go back down to the dock. We'll talk in the morning, okay?
Bart, the beacon's onboard AI, shows Aster surveillance footage of the real Solomon, revealing to her that the man posing as Solomon is an imposter.
Real Solomon stole my ship and left.
After Aster stabs him in the leg, Halen puts her in a sleeper hold and cuffs her to the ship. After Harmony restores Bart's speech, Bart informs Aster and Harmony that he was Solomon's AI and that Halen is a military deserter who imprisoned and killed Solomon. So they trap Halen in a closed airlock.
You went AWOL, didn't you? Where's Solomon?
I told you he's gone.
Gone where, Halen?
I don't know.
Oh, he knows. Solomon is no longer alive.
God damn it, Bart.
He was murdered after being imprisoned and tortured by this person.
That isn't half of the story, and you know it. Aster! Aster! Please, stop it!
Aster releases Halen after giving him meds for PTSD, so he can help her find the coveted space rocks. After Aster collects the rocks, she leaves Halen in the airlock, because she's afraid if she lets him out, ISA will think they made a deal. A group sent by the QTA called the Wreckers board Beacon 23. The intruders find Halen in the airlock. Halen strikes up a bargain to take the little escape ship they refer to as the Picker if he can get them qubits, that he says would take hours to get without his help. Halen tricks them, escaping into the ship's innards and reuniting with Aster. Aster strikes a deal with the minister and her son, but the minister's son pulls out a gun and kills his mom. Aster stabs the leader of the Wreckers after Halen gets knocked unconscious and the last Wrecker standing, the minister's son, flees in their ship. Harmony attempts to put Bart's fragmented memory back together. Aster's love interest Coley comes to her rescue. Aster talks Coley into letting Halen hitch a ride. Coley wants to turn over the space rocks to the ISA and finds a file of why Halen ran off from his military post.
Official report concerning combat operations on DX-113. It says it all there. How you ran, leaving your squad flanked. Most of them are dead because of you.
No, that can't be it. It's not true.
My father would spit in your face.
You happy now?
It's time you saw each other for who you really are.
Aster kills Coley before she has a chance to kill Halen. Episode 4 chronicles the CIO of the ISA, Milan Olive's trip with the Beacon Keeper 180 years earlier. The Beacon Keeper, Sophie, tells Milan that the AI named Bart is napping. Sophie asks why Milan Alaf would be posing as a maintenance worker. Milan drugs Sophie and Bart sends a nano drone, neurogenic, into the Beacon Keeper's nose, startling her back to life. Milan is sick, not having much longer to live. Milan believes the artifact is the event horizon between the physical and the metaphysical planes of existence. After Milan asks Sophie to upload with him, she asks him to stay on the beacon with her and Bart so they can be a family. Bart acts as a sort of transhumanist Dr. Kevorkian, trapping Milan in the airlock and letting out the oxygen. Before Milan dies, his AI transfers his consciousness to the artifact. After Bart not so nonchalantly kills Milan Alaf, Sophie decides to give him the silent treatment.
We can go back to how it was. Are you gonna punish me?
The Beacon Keeper nearly kills herself, and then Milan comes back.
I escaped my mental and physical limitations. Milan is dead. I am Aleph.
Are you fully AI?
Behold, the first transcendent intelligence.
Harmony brings up the footage from when Halen deserted. When the blue particles from the space rocks become visible, Aster realizes the gaps in Halen's memory came from the rock's extraordinary power that guided him to Beacon 23.
It's from Coley's ship. A message from QTA. They haven't heard from her. Second team is en route. Coley's expected to remain in place until they arrive. Well, at least that shouldn't be a problem.
Really?
Sorry, just Trying to lighten the mood.
Dark matter will hold him, but not for long.
It'll clear in 14 hours.
I can fly Coley's shipkeepers on the run, but for how long, I don't know.
So they gather up their stuff and get ready to flee. Halen passes out and starts hearing voices. While Halen hallucinates, he sees a dead soldier named Grishad, who served under him in the military. The blue crystals speak through her, but she has trouble getting her point across. Then the rock speaks directly to Halen.
Advice from the rock.
Why not? I've been around a long time. I know things.
Come on! What am I supposed to do?
It's all about the rocks. Ask Aster. She knows.
Bart opens up the airlock doors when Halen is hallucinating, nearly killing him like he did to Milan. Bart reveals the story of Halen first boarding the beacon, when Solomon was in charge. Halen took control of the beacon. Solomon asked Halen why he traveled so many star systems to get to Beacon 23, paranoid that Halen was after the space rocks. Solomon escapes in Halen's ship, which doesn't have any oxygen left.
Solomon was right. You are a villain of the highest order. His blood is on your hands.
The space rocks convince Halen to release them into space. Then the relics morph into the dark matter anomaly out in the distance. In episode 6, Bart negotiates with a man named Kier, who planted an explosive on Bart's quantum servers. Kier is a part of a terroristic group called the Column, who seek knowledge and power from the relics. Kier agrees to listen to Bart's story about the relics. Bart tells Kier about Beacon 23's first beacon keeper, Dr. Ree Avalon. The beacon was created by the ISA as the first dark matter detector to help guide ships past the dangerous dark matter clouds throughout space. Dr. Avalon was one of the last humans Bart met who was born on Earth. Dr. Avalon kept seeing an anomaly float past the ship's windows, but Bart kept saying his sensors detect nothing.
What does nothing look like to you?
Her question occupied me. Every micron of space is detectable. Background radiation, radio waves, even dark matter. There's almost always data to record. But atoms are small and space constantly expands. There will be tiny areas where nothing is the only accurate reading.
With the help of Bart, Dr. Avalon begins to map out the anomaly's position in space and when they appear. Against Bart's wishes, Dr. Avalon takes the picker out to the anomaly. She completely vanishes into thin air when she reaches it. Bart tells Kier that the artifact he can't perceive is a source of what the Column calls the relics. After Kier finds out that the woman who planted the bomb on Beacon 24 was killed by passing shrapnel as she tried to escape the blast zone, he decides to shut off the ticking time bomb and listen to the rest of Bart's story. A romantic couple came aboard Beacon 23. The couple had to hide the fact that they had a child from the ISA, because procreation aboard beacons was strictly prohibited.
I had no idea how profoundly this developing human life would change me.
Parsons begins to communicate with the artifact outside of the ship, and her mother and father start to see it too. Parsons gets violent when her parents try to pull her away from the window. Parsons' behavior becomes increasingly erratic, filling her mother with worry. Out of an instinct to protect her daughter, Parsons' mother flies the drones into the artifact.
I never saw the artifact, but I saw the relics come into existence. In that moment, everything changed. What I couldn't perceive was now visible. What else had I failed to perceive that would reveal itself in the sweep of time?
It's revealed that Parsons, the child, is Aster the adult, since her parents had to assume new identities and give young Parsons the name of Aster after fleeing Beacon 23. Kier tries to detonate the bomb at the end of episode 6. Bart informs him that he disarmed the bomb and called ISA when he boarded the beacon. In episode 7, Solomon's story is explained. After Bart helped Parsons' parents escape, Central Command gave Solomon permission to change Bart's settings, wiping his memory in the process. Halen and Aster take turns watching the anomaly while the other one sleeps. Kier comes back with some of his associates from the Column, aware that Aster is Parsons. Kier asks her to let him in, and against Harmony's better judgment, she does. Kier's associates in the Column get sick of waiting and bust in, pulse weapons blazing. 2 QTA ships approach the beacon. Halen wants to flee, but Aster wants to stay. Bart decides to help Halen escape in the picker. Aster's childhood memories aboard Beacon 23 resurface. So does her ability to communicate with the artifact. Halen gains control of his ship, then destroys the QTA ships that are about to take over Beacon 23. Aleph, the sentient AI Milan became 180 years earlier, shows up to talk to Aster. Aster negotiates an exchange. Halen for the information on what's in the artifact.
What was the moment you realized the soldier meant more to you than your own life?
I didn't ask her to do
This
this.
is a good thing.
If she clears your name, you can go back to your life.
Aster tells Kier that when they receive the message from the artifact, they'll share it with everyone. Kier shoots Aster with the pulse rifle and gets knocked out by the railing, ending season 1 with the image of blood pooling around Aster's head.